This week, while the mainstream media was still obsessed with parroting Chinese communist propaganda about the Chinese coronavirus, here are the things that happened that really matter. The United States is not Italy when it comes to the Chinese coronavirus. We've all heard the prediction. We're 10 days behind Italy. We're about to see mass death. That is not coming true. You can't compare the United States to Italy because Italy has a much older per capita population. Their population has a high percentage of smokers, which means underlying health conditions. Their single-payer healthcare system crashed in just the first 10 days after 1,000 extra patients. And Italy is also not using the combination of antiviral drugs that's been found to be effective in fighting COVID-19. Their death rate after day 13 was 4%, while the United States' death rate after our day 13 was only 1.8%. So it's not a one-to-one comparison. But did the mainstream media report that to you? No, the mainstream media did not report the facts. President Trump did not get rid of the White House Pandemic Office. That's the narrative the Democrats have been pushing, that President Trump shut down the White House Pandemic Office and therefore Trump is responsible for the coronavirus crisis because he was willfully negligent in preventing this. That is false. According to Tim Morrison, who was there at the National Security Council at the time, the Trump administration reorganized the NSC, and this is his quote, to create the Counter-Proliferation and Biodefense Directorate, which was the result of consolidating 3 directorates into one, given the obvious overlap between arms control and non-proliferation, weapons of mass destruction terrorism, and global health and biodefense. It is this reorganization, Morrison said, that critics have misconstrued or intentionally misrepresented. If anything, the combined directorate was stronger because related expertise could be commingled, end quote. But did the mainstream media report this to you? No, the mainstream media just parroted the Democrats' lie. Former Florida Democrat gubernatorial candidate Andrew Gillum was busted in a drug overdose police situation. After a 911 call, police found Gillum partially naked in a hotel room with crystal meth and a gay male escort from rentmen.com. Andrew Gillum was supposed to be the Democrats' party's rising star, the next Obama, a possible vice presidential candidate for 2020. But did the mainstream media report this shocking fall from grace, this scandalous criminal behavior? Nope. The mainstream media actually barely mentioned it. Joe Biden wants to ban fracking. He said so himself in the last Democrat primary debate. You may not have heard about that thanks to coronavirus, but if Biden bans fracking, 14 million Americans will lose their jobs, according to a study from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. But did the mainstream media report on Biden's threat to the livelihood of millions and millions and millions of Americans? Nope. The mainstream media instead claimed that Biden won the debate. The death rate on which the government's response to COVID-19 has been built is inaccurate. We've been told that COVID-19 has a 3.4% death rate, but that's not true, and it's severely impacted by selection bias. First, it's simply not true in the United States, according to Johns Hopkins. The U.S. death rate is 1.4%, but even that is likely significantly inflated because of selection bias, which means only the most severe cases of coronavirus manifesting in people in high-risk demographics are being tested. Once we start testing more people with mild and moderate symptoms and people who aren't in high-risk demographics, it's likely that rate will fall even further. But did the mainstream media report this? Not really. They're still talking about frightening death rates that are proving to be inaccurate. The mainstream media doesn't care to report any of that to you, so we will.